I still smell pine and sugar cookies when I think about that Christmas Eve, the day my gentle, loving grandma finally snapped. For 50 years, my grandma Elara and my grandpa Joe were the soul of our family. Elara was a retired ICU nurse who bandaged every scraped knee, who sewed every Halloween costume, who never raised her voice, even when we broke her favorite Christmas ornaments. She and Grandpa were the kind of couple that sang Christmas carols together while decorating the tree, that left little presents for each other in their stockings every year, that still kissed under the mistletoe every single Christmas. 3 months after Grandpa died, we all insisted on having our annual Christmas Eve dinner at her house, saying it was what Joe would have wanted. She smiled, put up his favorite Christmas lights, even baked his famous sugar cookies, just like she always did. My cousin brought his new wife Brianna, a corporate HR manager who spent the first hour telling us about her company mental health training, like she was a licensed grief counselor. Halfway through opening presents, she started going on about how elderly grieving people fabricate dramatic memories for attention. It's so common with seniors, she said, flipping her hair like she was giving a presentation. They make up these intense stories about their spouse's death to get their family to pay attention to them, instead of just accepting the peaceful truth. I watched Grandma's hands, usually busy passing out presents, still around the mug of hot cocoa Grandpa had gotten her for their 45th Christmas. Brianna didn't stop, leaning in to talk directly to her, like she was a problem employee. You said Joe died suddenly while you two were wrapping presents? That's exactly the kind of dramatic lie grieving seniors tell to get sympathy. The living room went dead silent. Grandma slowly set her mug down, her voice so calm it made the hair on the back of my neck stand up. He didn't just die suddenly, she said. He had a massive pulmonary embolism at 8:24 p.m., right as we were wrapping the grandkids' presents. I used every bit of my 30 years of ICU training to try to save him for 10 minutes. I counted every single second. She stood up, her usual soft, crinkly smile gone, her eyes sharp and steady, like the nurse she'd been for decades. You want to know what really happened that night? Her voice was quiet, but it cut through the Christmas music and the glow of the tree lights. We'd been wrapping presents all night, laughing about how the kids would scream when they saw the bikes we'd gotten them. He just handed me a roll of wrapping paper, kissed my forehead, and then he collapsed. I caught him before he hit the floor, and his face was blue, his eyes wide with fear. He couldn't breathe, couldn't speak, just stared at me like he knew he was leaving me. I called 911. It took 7 minutes for them to get here. I counted every tick of that old grandfather clock in the hallway, the one he built for me for our 25th anniversary, the one I still can't stand to hear chime. She looked straight at Brianna, a tear finally slipping down her cheek, leaving a track through her lipstick. You talk about fabricated lies. Let me tell you about the real memories. I remember the way his favorite Christmas sweater, the red one with the reindeer, bunched up when I laid him on the floor. I remember how his hand went limp in mine, even as I kept giving him breaths, even when I knew it was useless. I remember the paramedic saying, "I'm sorry, Mrs. Hale, we did everything we could." I remember picking out his suit for the funeral, the green one he wore to our granddaughter's wedding. And then I called every single one of you and told you he died quickly, peacefully, while we were wrapping presents. Because I couldn't bear the thought of you picturing him the way I saw him, scared, fighting to stay with me, with all of you. She looked around at all of us, sitting there with our presents in our laps, frozen in shame. You all ate that story up. It was sweet, it was easy, it didn't make you have to face how much pain I was in. Not a single one of you ever asked me what it was really like. Not a single one of you is called just to check in, not unless you needed something. You think I don't notice that you run out the door the second the Christmas dinner is over, that you don't want to sit with the quiet, the empty chair at the table? She leaned in toward Brianna, her voice sharp and unshakable. Don't you ever dare call my memory a lie. I live with every single second of that night, every single evening when I look at that clock at 8:24, reaching for him. She walked out of the living room, leaving all of us there, humiliated and guilty. Brianna stammered an apology, but my uncle cut her off, quiet and furious. You have no idea what she's been through. The next morning, every single one of us showed up at Grandma's house, presents in hand, ready to sit with her, to listen, to finally be there for her the way she'd always been there for us.